Sam. And just hit play. Turn up the music. It's on mute.
Which one is it?
The red ones.
Oh.
Hit lock talk.
Did it play?
Yes, hit lock talk.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, hello. We are here. What's up, X3? We are here celebrating all of the fun. Was that your phone? Yeah, it was.
It was.
That's all right. That's all right. We are here celebrating the greatest week in WWE in a very, very long time. We will get into that. We will get into so much more as the build for Fastlane and WrestleMania has started this week as we...
You're listening to the Podcast
No.
Detroit Network. www.podcastdetroit.com.
That's fine. Click it again. Click intro. Lock top off.
You're listening to the Podcast Detroit Network. Visit www.podcastdetroit.com for more information.
Click it again. The music. You're learning. It's fine.
Why did it do that?
It's not because it's on manual. Turn the mics off.
Are you ready? No! I said, are you ready? You just made the list! Oh, I knew he was going to do that. I just knew he was going to do that. He don't need Janetti. Damn. You don't know what hard times are, Daddy. Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. It's just a man with a rock in cooking. Bulletproof for life, good bout, and good night.
They think they got the answers. I change the questions.
Oh, it's true. It's damn true.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to the most inappropriate pro wrestling show in the motherfucking world. You're listening to Breaking Down the Ring. We are your ring crew.
Nick the fuck up.
Awesome. Mr. Wednesday Night.
And me, the almighty one, Mikey himself. What the fuck is up, everybody? How you guys doing?
Hey, girl, hey.
Hi. I have to say that after this week of WWE television, I'm actually excited about the next week. Like, I don't think I've had that in a long time with
been a while.
WWE. What do you think, Joe? Like, I'll be very honest. You're the person I go to every time for this show when I want unadulterated, 100% critiquing, because you don't care.
No nonsense.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
I'll tell it like it is.
Every fucking time. Like, you don't sugarcoat shit. So, but without going into all of this stuff, the next week of WWE television, are you excited to see it? You want to see how it plays out? Or are you just like, whatever?
I don't know that I'm super excited for next week, but I will tell you that I did enjoy this week's wrestling.
It didn't set you up to where you're like, man, I can't wait to see what they do with it on Raw and SmackDown next week?
A little bit, but I've been so disenchanted with the product lately. It's going to take more than 1 week to get me excited.
All right.
But I
understand
will
that.
say that, and as I was watching a lot of this week's wrestling with my girlfriend, I did even make comments to her like, wow, this is pretty good. I'm actually enjoying this for once. Good on you, WWE.
Yeah.
So I did even make comments to my significant other to that effect. So, yes, I was aware that this week's WWE product was better in quality than what we've been given the past few weeks, few months even. So, yeah, I did take note of that, did notice that, and did give them props for that.
Nice. I'll be very honest, man. There's many times that we have gone into one of these shows and we've just like, man, we are dreading watching this week's WWE. Nick, how did you feel finishing up Raw and SmackDown then about next week's product?
I felt pretty good. A lot of surprises, that really kind of caught you off guard and gave me some good feels.
Mm-hmm.
I just hope that they take that momentum and go with it. And I think there's a good chance they got Brother Love, helping with the creative side of it. Hopefully he does some good for that company. But I've got some good feels about it. I'm trying to keep positive, get a positive attitude about it.
Good positive attitude. We always like when something's positive, unless it's HIV.
Yeah.
Still like that.
Got to stay away from that. So, okay, let's look. Let's go right into it. The biggest fucking story of the week is, without a doubt, Roman saying that he's in remission and that he is back on Raw.
It was all a work. I am just kidding. I'm kidding.
I will say this. I told everyone, I was like, man, if he comes back this week and he says that he's back, then I don't know if that's real or not. I don't know. And I was very, very concerned about that situation because in my eyes, I said this in our Facebook group, and if you guys are following us on Facebook, make sure you click that group link and it'll take you right to our group. You could be a part of the Breaking Down the Ring group. This is something that if it comes out any way, shape, or form that Roman and Vince, being the only two possible who could have done this without getting, anyone else involved, it would have just been those two. If it comes out at all that this is a work, then it's super fucked up and makes them two of the most despicable people for real in the world
ever.
And I was asked, they were like, why? They've done all these other things, Eddie telling Ray that he was his, real father, or, fucking Triple H fucking a corpse and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well,
you big nasty bastard.
And I'm like, and it's like, well, why is that? Why is this what would change that for you? And why it would change it is because those other things, while there is a sense of realism in it, just like any television show or movie that you watch.
Didn't Big Boss Man serve Al Snow his dog or something?
Yeah. Like it's all of that was presented. It's still a television show. It's still, this is the drama aspect. This is the storyline. We're moving forward. This wasn't presented as a storyline. This is, hey, holy fuck, I have cancer. I have to take a step back. And if that comes out that they used a real life situation, something that is killing people left and right, just to trick the fans to make him get him cheered, that's horrid. That's fucking horrid. I can't even remotely think that that's a good thing in anyone's eyes.
So say, and I don't really believe it is, but say this, everything you just said is true. It's a work. It's a big schmaz by McMahon and Roman Reigns, and somehow it does come out, and the whole world finds out about that. And no pun intended, what's the backlash on WWE and Vince and Roman for that? How would the world react to this if it was a work? How do you think?
I know personally, I wouldn't watch it anymore.
Ever?
I'd be done with WWE.
You'd really just
I couldn't.
Lifetime ban, boycott them.
I literally could not watch a product that in the back of my head I know used something that is killing millions of Americans and millions of people, something that has killed people in my family, more than one, just to make people cheer a guy. And as far as business wise, dude, you think you have any sponsors if you mocked cancer? If you have no sponsors, you have no money. They could drop their TV deals will have to get dropped. Everything.
They've done some pretty crass stuff in the past, as we've mentioned, though.
Agreed, but all of those things have been presented in the context of this is a television show. It is a television show. None of this is actually really real. You're not gonna.
There was real. I'd say there was some real sexism going on there, and not too long ago.
Right,
but it's some pretty pretty big extremes.
Right. Okay. And at the same time, the minute that people were like, look, we're kind of sick of this, they changed, and they evolved. No pun intended. Women's evolution. But they moved on. This is not something that is, hey, this is cool to go with the sign of the times.
Yeah.
It'd be going backwards.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? This is not anything that some people are doing. Hey, it's really cool? Let's go ahead and fucking make fun of cancer patients. And then it'll be fine. Everyone will be good.
Nobody gives a fuck.
Those little bald-headed fucks over there, everybody will be fine. Them kids, they're fine. Fuck them. That's not what's going on. That's not one. It's kind of like saying, all these tweets and stuff that people are getting called out for, and they're killing careers. Kevin Hart with the Oscars, like, oh, but you tweeted this stuff about gays back in the day, and he was like, well, I've already apologized for that 3 times, so what do you want me to do anymore now? That it's kind of like back then, it wasn't as frowned upon as it is now. You know what I'm saying? And WWE has evolved from the way they treated women wrestlers, the Jello, the pudding, and all that stuff.
Puppies.
Puppies. I agree with you. The 100% blatant sexism. They have moved on from that, and said, "Hey, we're sorry. We're not going to do that anymore." But this is not something that is ever going to be. It's kind of like, oh man, I guess finding out Vince has a black slave. Think about it. If you found out Vince had a black slave at his house, like for real.
He probably does.
Okay, but if if it came out that Vince still had slaves, and he had him fucking cleaning his house, no money, no pay, you know what I'm saying? That's
as long as they're over. I mean.
And then but if you found that out,
How do you think Virgil's been surviving all these years?
$1 Million Man, not Vince.
Vince is the $1 Million Man.
Virgil's like, yeah, I got Ted DiBiase coming with me to this Comic-Con.
Ted DiBiase was playing Vince McMahon in that role.
Everybody has a price.
That's right.
I think if people had a better understanding, they know what cancer is to an extent, but I think a lot of people expect to see skinny Roman, bald Roman, hairless Roman, sick Roman, wheelchair, all this stuff. Not everybody. I think a lot of people think that. So when they don't see him like that, they're just automatically like, oh, fuck it. It was
It's 100% of work.
100% of work. And now don't get me wrong. A part of me thinks that it is possible. I don't think it is. But again, like Joe said, they've done some fucked up stuff in the past.
I will agree with. A part of me would not be surprised if this became a work, but I can't believe it's a work because if I believe it's a work, I can't watch the product.
But Roman has. I don't want to put it like this. Roman's got money. He's in peak physical condition. Mm-hmm. He's got the best doctors on his team. He probably had people knocking down his door for. Didn't he need a bone marrow transplant as well, or like? I thought that's part of what leukemia is. Maybe
I think that's lymphoma.
Okay,
with the bone marrow stuff.
But still, like
leukemia is your blood. That's like a blood cancer.
Okay, so he's got all these resources. I don't know. It's not that hard for me to believe that he's in remission. It was kind of like, wow, really? So
quick,
soon,
pretty quick.
Yeah, but I don't know enough
about it.
It
was just at the end of October when he made the announcement.
Yeah.
Did he wrestle the night before this announcement? I can't, I haven't been able to. I've been so fucking busy this week.
Not too long before it. I mean, because he was pretty fresh as the Universal Champ.
Right.
When he wasn't the champ for very long when he had to relinquish the title.
Because it was October 22nd that he had the.
Yeah, it was only a few days before. It was only a few days I left before for the cruise, the Jericho cruise, and I remember it was kind of a big thing on the cruise, like. There was a lot of get well Roman signs just in the crowd on the boat, and stuff like that. And some get well Roman chants busted out on the boat and stuff.
Hell in a Cell, is that where he won it?
Is that the
No, so that was one of his last matches. Hell in a Cell, September 16th. So I wonder, I would have to look, but I don't know how often Roman wrestled after that. So let's say he just cut promos. Let's play devil's advocate here. He only cut promos after that, and this could be, hey, did this wrestling thing, cut all these promos, because kind of around then is when I was hearing I might have this. So that adds an extra month, right? So that'll add a 5th month to this. Nick shared it with us, and then we shared it with the world. A dude named Chris Griffin, who's a leukemia patient and a trustee for
From
Leukemia
Family
Care.
Guy?
Yeah, kind of same guy. He
Sorry.
no, that's fine. He comes out
He
and
brought that up too.
yeah, 100%. He comes up and he says, "Look, I hate the fact that people are ripping on Roman Reigns, kind of this, and here's why." And he put out this letter, and this letter says this. It says, "Roman's remission appears to be too good to be true. Looking great with all of his hair, 5 months after diagnosis, doesn't fit in with the traditional narrative of a blood cancer patient. Cancer doesn't work like that, does it? Actually, yes, some blood cancers do. I've had a similar type of blood cancer to Roman called chronic myeloid leukemia for 11 years now. I take a small white tablet every morning called tyrosine kinase inhibitor, and it puts my leukemia back in its box on a molecular level. I've had bad days where I felt tired or a bit sick, but I've carried on. I work full-time in education and haven't taken a day off sick through anything related to the leukemia. It took me about 9 months to reach hematological level of remission, in that my blood looked okay. It took 6 years to get to a molecular level of remission, and now my leukemia is pretty much undetectable. I have never lost my hair, and I've never had traditional chemotherapy. You see where I'm going with this? Roman is an elite athlete, and it might surprise you that I'm not. We both fought our leukemia in our own way and in our own time frame. But there's one thing that I guarantee will annoy any leukemia patient who is in remission, and that's someone saying, well, you don't look sick. Right now, that's happening online. Can we celebrate Roman looking great and happy, or would we prefer him hooked up to drip, pushed out in a wheelchair? That's our traditional view. If our traditional view has been upended, it isn't a lie. I won't go in any further into that, but basically saying, look, it's possible for someone to not have gone through all of the physical changes that you know from a cancer patient. And that's awesome. You know, but at the same time, he also says, look, it took me 9 months to get to a level of where it wasn't noticeable and I could go through things again. So that's what Roman's doing right now, you know, and if it took that guy 9 months, and like you said, Nick, this is a guy who is an athlete. When Roman came back, I literally first thing I thought was he looks a little smaller.
Yeah.
Not major, you know what I'm saying? Nothing.
I didn't think you did at all.
Really, yeah. It didn't look. It's not like he looked like ill or even unhealthy or man, you need to hit the gym, dude. It didn't look like beef Roman. Like even the photos of The Rock, you know, when he was doing that, I even thought in those, I was like, yeah, he doesn't look as cut as he normally does.
He just lost a few pounds.
Yeah, and nothing major. Something maybe about 10 pounds or something like that. That's my look at it, you know. And I would assume that even that looking a little bit lighter, he hadn't been able to work out, you know, at least recently, within the last couple weeks. You know, I would assume you could still work out. Maybe no physical major like wrestling in a ring, but I just can't think that this is a work. It doesn't come off as a work to me. The only thing that's making it feel like a work is the time frame. Mm-hmm. That's it. And if that's the only thing that's making me feel like it could be a work, well, then I don't want to feel like that.
And I hope if it's not a work, I hope they're not bringing him back too quick, because based on some stuff I read earlier today, he's on scheduled for Raw through May, like through May 9th or something like that at least. So, you know, I hope for his sake, if he's still trying to fully recover one way or another, they're not pushing him too hard, or he's not like, yeah, fuck it, I'm good, you know.
Right. Any thoughts on it?
I did expect him to be out longer than this.
Yeah.
I was pretty surprised because when they made the announcement that he was coming back to make an announcement on Raw on Monday, like, well, he's not gonna come back and give us bad news. You know, he wouldn't come on Raw just to do that.
Right.
So he's coming.
I have to retire.
Right. He's coming back to make, you know, to give us some good news, and what that is probably that he's going to be back, and that's what it was. I definitely didn't expect to see him back before WrestleMania.
Yeah.
So just the time frame thing is what's surprising to me. that being said, I don't believe that it's a work. Would I be shocked to hear if it was a work? Unfortunately, no, I would not.
Yeah, I can't even argue that.
But do I believe it is? No, I do not.
right,
I hope that it is not. Very much so.
So-
I remember when this first happened. Like my buddy Chris and I, my buddy Vito,
yeah,
him and I and my girlfriend were watching this, and my girlfriend was like, is this storyline? No, she at the time was like, could this be a work? And me and Chris, who are two of the most hardened, jaded, negative at time fans that you could ever possibly come across, we're both like, no, there's no way that this is no way. Like, if this came out to where this is a work, the backlash that would come on Vince and WWE and Roman Reigns for this would be, it'd be irreparable damage. Like, there's no way. Like, it would be a PR nightmare if they were lying about this and got caught. So, like, even when he first announced it and people were, I was like, there is just no way this can be a work,
Yeah.
So I really hope that it's not.
What you asked Mikey earlier about where he would stand if it was a work. Where would that leave you?
I wouldn't stop watching.
Yeah.
I mean, because I'm as jaded as I could possibly be, and I still watch for some. A lot of the reason I still watch is because of this show. But even if I wasn't on the show, I don't know that I'd be completely tuned out. I'd probably go back to my old routine and turn in a 3-hour Raw into 45 minutes. It's fast forwarding through most of everything. Right. But I would still probably stay plugged in to an extent. I would almost probably stay plugged in if this came out as being a work. I'd probably almost stay plugged in just to see the world burn, see the ramifications of it all, see how it affected them.
I feel like Chris Benoit is a line you are not crossing, right? Because the dude murdered his family and killed himself. Making somebody have fake cancer has to be worse than that in your eyes.
Vince faked his own death on TV right before that Benoit thing happened, and then.
But again, presented in storyline form. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's still very crass and very.
I agree, but no one really thought that he was fucking dead.
It's still crass and done in poor taste.
I can't say that because there's people that fake kill themselves in movies I love, but it's a movie, so you let it go. It's a form of entertainment, and that's what the WWE is. It is sports entertainment, and anything like that, anything that they've ever presented is literally nothing worse than anything I've ever seen in a television show or a movie that I've watched that's been rated R. You know what I'm saying?
It's true.
I feel like this is not presented as your normal television drama. This was holy shit. It was presented like this is like, okay, someone in football, someone in basketball, baseball.
Lou Gehrig.
That like, hey, this is a serious disease that's taking someone away. Hopefully they'll come back and play for us one day, and that's not, this is a real life situation. It's not presented as, oh my God, Vince blew his own limo up, and then, hey, welcome back.
No, I understand what you're saying. I'm just saying, no matter what the presentation aspect of it was, they've done a lot of stuff in the past in very poor taste.
Yeah. I won't argue that. But again, the thing that gives them the pass to me is because it's presented as the entertainment aspect of it.
No, I understand that.
Yeah.
I understand that.
Then the swerve of the century happened on Raw. I think these are the two biggest stories right now this week coming out of Raw. Actually, no, it's not. But let's just go ahead and keep it with Raw for a second. Ric Flair's 70th birthday party, boys. Woo. First off, did you read the dirt sheets before watching Raw? Joe, yes or no?
I was spoiled.
Okay. Did you read
Not
the
from
dirt
reading
sheets?
the dirt sheets. It's just shit just comes across your timeline,
I
So you didn't watch it live?
No,
Okay.
but I was spoiled.
All right.
Unfortunately,
I was spoiled. I went to bed at like 10,
Oh.
and so I was gonna finish watching it last night. And I'm at work doing my thing, and then
We get it. So you didn't know until he literally spoiled you?
He sends a text, and he's like, "What do you guys think of Batista coming back?" Like, what the fuck? Really? And so I type back. I'm like, spoiler alert! God damn it! And it is inevitable because there's a good possibility I would have saw it like go through Facebook, or whatever. But still, God damn it!
Smitty is on the Periscope and he said, "Sup, bitches, best ending Raw's had in a while."
It didn't surprise me though because I expected after the their like quote unquote reunion back in the fall with Batista and Flair and Triple H and Randy Orton, I expected him to come back eventually.
Let me tell you why it surprised me. Because this entire Raw episode, right at the beginning, it was built to be something that everyone had been talking about before this. Mm-hmm. Becky Lynch was going to come and spoil it. She's going to fuck up Ric Flair, or Ric Flair was going to join her side, and that'd be part of why she's getting at Charlotte. And so that was my whole fucking thought process on this is like, so Becky's going to drive back with a fucking police car? She's going to come to the ring like Stone Cold. She's going to fucking nail something, so on and so forth. And I was like, God damn it, I can't wait to see Becky. And I said, Ric Flair. And, I'm just looking, I'm like, oh, he's not coming out. I was like, sweet. So Becky's in the back with him. And then it cut, and you see Batista, skinny jeans, blue sunglasses, everything, dragging a fucking cameraman, goes into the fucking locker room, beats the shit out of Flair. Drags him out. Looks at the camera and goes, "Hey, Hunter." You know what it reminded me of? You seen Black Panther? It went, "Hey, Auntie." It was just like, oh, damn. And then he was like, "I got your attention now." And then he overacted. I was like, whoa, man, that was a little bit much right there. But for me, so it wasn't spoiled. Obviously, I watched it live. Actually, I was 2 minutes behind, and I was so enamored and everything on Raw that it kept me off of social media, all the normal tweeting that I do during it. And so I saw it, I was like, holy fucking shit. Because again, I was expecting Becky, and we got Batista in a wonderful shock surprise return that was an ending to Raw that you hadn't seen in a very long time. How did you feel about it, Joe?
I loved it. Last week I called a couple returns, or at least predicted, and KO and Batista were a couple that I predicted. I didn't know in what capacity. I wasn't sure. Like last week, I was talking about Batista as a possible opponent for Daniel Bryan because we were under the impression, I believe, that Triple H wouldn't be cleared for Mania. Apparently, that's changed.
Yeah, has to have been.
So, yeah, I was kind of expecting him to come back at some point. So, definitely happy that he's back. I've been wanting Batista back for a while. He's a great heel.
Oh, and that's the best thing that he's coming back as a heel. Nick, how did you feel when you even though you were spoiled watching it and how it played out?
They need the star power.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, yeah, they definitely do. And I like the camera work where the camera guy's in the back and you just see a really quick trail of Batista going by, dragging that cameraman. That was great. I'm interested to see what's going to happen. And I'm kind of glad they're bringing him back as a heel because when he was face, it really wasn't working out for him.
Yeah, the last time they brought him back, even he wanted to be heel, and they were like, "No, it'll be great." And the problem was that was when the whole Daniel Bryan yes movement was going on, and everyone really wanted Daniel Bryan. And the fact that it got Rey Mysterio booed at number 30 spot in the Royal Rumble is that I like to laugh a little bit because I feel like Vince goes, "Oh shit, Rey Mysterio is the ultimate face. If someone gets booed over him, he gets someone booed." Or someone gets cheered louder than him, I feel like Vince goes, maybe I should do something right now. And that kind of happened on SmackDown, which we'll talk about in a little bit. So it's looking like Batista versus Triple H at WrestleMania. The groundwork, the seed was laid there. Joe, you said you're really excited he's back, especially as heel. Is the match something that you want to see?
Not necessarily. I'll be honest. I don't think it's going to be a show stealer or a Mac Classic or anything. It's going to be a show business match. It's not going to be your wrestlers match. You know, it's not going to be the catch as catch can. It's not going to be the one that everyone talks about. But it's going to get a lot of eyes on it just because, you know, Batista's Drax, man. I mean, he's almost as big as The Rock now out there. It brings a lot of star power. It's going to bring, not that WrestleMania wasn't going to sell out or get a lot of buys, but it's going to bring even more casual viewers as far as, like, I don't know about subscription buys, but it will get pay-per-view buys for sure.
Nick, is that a match that you're hoping happens?
Batista and Triple H?
I mean, I'm sorry, not that you're hoping happens, that you're excited to see.
Yeah. I mean, it'll be a match. And, you know, I don't think it'll be anything great. Like Joe said, it's not going to steal the show. It'll draw some fans, you know, a little bit of nostalgia there. But, fodder.
Kind of like I was talking about last week. I'm more interested in the ride almost.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then last time I heard Batista talk about returning, I think it was on Jim Ross's podcast, and he said, like, and because JR was like, so what, do you want to just do a one-off? And Batista's like, no, man, like, I want to do, like, a run. Like, I want to go on the road and live events and work a program and put some time in. Like, that's what I'm interested in seeing. You know, I'm not just in it for the one match, because I know it's not going to be like, you know, Shawn Michaels, Kurt Angle, or, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's not going to be like that. So I'm more interested in Batista as a character, and I want to see what his character will do over a period of time. So I'm just hoping that he's back for more than just a match with Triple H, and I hope we get to see more of him than just that.
All right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Who else would you like to see Batista work with?
Like I said last week, I'd like to see him work with Daniel Bryan.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to see him work with, and I know these are SmackDown guys, but I'd like to see him work with Randy Orton. Another SmackDown guy, I'd like to see him work with Samoa Joe. Maybe going back to Raw, maybe Lashley.
Okay.
Just to name a few. I could go on probably more.
Seth would be a good match.
Yeah. Maybe Brock, but I just see Batista being more fodder for Brock.
Drink.
Hey, I wasn't the first one to say it.
I didn't hear it.
Nick said it earlier.
He did? Damn it. I didn't hear it from Nick
Yeah, I might have.
fodder. That's the new drinking game rule for everyone who's paying attention. The minute one of us says fodder, you have to take a drink.
But, I mean, Batista's had a couple MMA fights. Lashley's got an MMA career. Lesnar's got an MMA career. It'd be cool. I mean, they're all big Haas motherfuckers. You know, it'd be cool to see a big Haas match with Batista and Brock, you know?
Nice. Nick, is there anyone specific that you like? Give me two people. I know you mentioned Seth. Two other people besides Seth that you would like to see Batista go if he's back for a true good run.
I'd like to see anybody against Braun. I mean, anybody big like that. Braun.
Ooh. Yeah, that's a good match.
I think AJ would be a good match.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
I think AJ would be a good. I think Finn Balor would be a good match too. Finn's quick and he puts up a good fight against these bigger guys.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that, man. That's a great call. Finn Balor, AJ Styles. If Batista's back for a good run, I want to see Batista take on Lashley.
Nia Jax.
No. Close second, though. Let's be honest. Really close second. I want to see Batista get into... I want to see him show up and maybe rekindle the fucking shit with Rey Mysterio. That was the stuff that made him go heel in the first place. You know? When Rey was just like, you were supposed to be my friend. Things like that, you know?
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. I'd like to see that too.
Yeah, I think that'd be a really good mix for him. Now, I know he showed up on Raw.
You know what would be kind of cool, real quick, if RVD came back for one last little run and did a little program with Batista, I think would be kind of fun too.
Why's that?
Just because because they're friends, and like Rey Mysterio and Dave Batista are friends, and I just think friends have good. I just think friends work together better,
All right.
and I think they'd have some fun.
The Sami Zayn, fucking Kevin Owens type
Right.
stuff. Yeah.
Triple H, Shawn Michaels.
With Batista being back now, is Batista possibly just going to be featured on Raw, or would you like to see, Nick, we'll start off with you, would you like to see him follow Triple H onto SmackDown for something, or just stay on Raw?
No, I think he could float.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'd be better. Especially because I don't foresee him having that heavy workload. So he might as well show up to both, say something here and there, make his presence known. As you can plainly see, there's a lot of guys right now that aren't really cemented on Raw or SmackDown. They're kind of floating back and forth.
Yeah, we kind of talked about that last week. The brand split is kind of becoming less and less.
No, and again, not really.
Not everybody, but
there's two people.
I still think a guy like that, you put him on both shows.
All right. Well, yeah, because I think he's not signed to a brand.
Yeah.
Well, if you think about it, though, not talking about his most recent run where they brought him back for the Rumble and he got booed and all that. Because he was more of a Raw guy in that run, but in his previous run, before he left for Hollywood and all that, he was more of a SmackDown guy. Batista was.
Mm-hmm. He was SmackDown,
throughout the majority of his career. So, yeah, I'd like to see him on SmackDown.
All right. I think it'd be a smart idea to have him go in between both shows. Now, there were a lot of complaints as well about Batista's return.
Why? Everyone's got it.
But here's it's not that he returned. People were complaining, like, what about the people in the audience that didn't get to see Ric Flair? Like, oh, you booked a show for Ric Flair's 70th birthday. How come Ric Flair couldn't even just come out after and, say hi to everyone, so on and so forth, and blah, blah, blah. They got Jinder Mahal came out or something like that, and then like Shawn super kicked him into the cake and stuff like that, so no one ever got to eat the cake because, no birthday party the cake ever gets eaten for real.
I mean, you know what happens when there's cake on a wrestling show.
Yeah, same thing as contracts.
Every time.
It never really gets, maybe a piece of it gets eaten after it's like someone's wiping it off their own face and eating it, But you know how that stuff goes.
Right. So, do you feel like, Nick, did the fans get gypped, or did the fans get a great return and let's keep with kayfabe here? Why would you have Rick? Why did you complain about continuity and then want continuity to break just for this one specific situation?
I think a part of a lot of the fan base may have been disappointed, but when you look at the grand scheme of things as to what happened and the context with Batista, and get over it. As a fan, if I would have went to that show specifically for Ric Flair's 70th birthday,
dude, that's not even fair because when you buy tickets for these shows months in advance.
No, right?
You don't know exactly what that Raw is going to be when you buy a ticket.
That's right.
So you're buying a ticket to Raw. You're not buying a ticket to Ric Flair's fucking birthday party.
I wanted Ric Flair's fucking birthday party. That's what I was watching. Yeah, the whole fucking show.
I thought it was funny that Charlotte was.
Hey, man, it clearly says in every wrestling show ever, card subject to change.
This is very true.
Yeah. Okay, let's get into something else that happened on Raw that was kind of big. Ronda Rousey had a match. Somehow keeping up with the old adage of the women's title needing to be defended against the Riot Squad. Got to keep this going. Don't know why. So, Ruby Riott and the Riot Squad were against. Was it? Who specifically was it?
Natty?
It was Ronda
Oh.
and Natty versus, was it Ruby and Liv?
Ruby and Sarah Logan.
Sarah Logan. Okay. Becky Lynch comes out. She proceeds to beat the shit out of everybody, as Becky Lynch does. Becky Lynch is so over as a face, it doesn't matter what she does, she's never going to get booed. She beat up Natty for just saying, hey, calm down. Boom, punch to the fucking face, beat up with a crutch. Heels, beat him up with a crutch. Her and Ronda completely broken up. They're fucking hauling Becky off in handcuffs, and she's like saying some of the greatest fucking things I've ever heard anybody say. When she's like, you can't put the handcuffs on these hands. These hands are meant to have to hold up a title. How are you going to handcuff these hands? Oh, so good, Becky. It's all ad lib. It's just so fucking good. She's so great off the cuff. Then Ronda says, fuck this. Let's finish this. And proceeds to call out Vince McMahon. Stephanie comes out. Stephanie says, look, I'm sorry. That's how it is. You're facing Charlotte Flair at Mania. And she goes, well, that's bullshit. She didn't say bullshit, but obviously she's like, I'm here to fight the best. If you're not going to hand me the best people, and because Becky is one of the best people, then I'm just holding a belt. I'm just holding a trinket. There's no real, I'm going for the people that you choose. Let's not forget that this is exactly what the fuck everyone's been saying about every title in the WWE for the past couple of years, right? You're going for what they choose. We're going, these are your hand-picked people. I'm not really fighting the best, facing the best, so on and so forth. Steph says, there's nothing I can do about it. That's just how it is. She goes, well, your dad's always been talking about doing what's best for business, but now he has to do what's right for business. And that's Becky. And if he's not going to do that well then, and she lays the title and walks the fuck off. Stumbling and stuttering. I will say this. I was mocking that, even though I know like they're kind of giving her more leeway to talk, and this is some of her own words and so on and so forth. And I was just like, man, she just keeps stumbling and stuttering. Like maybe she needs a script. Come to find out, she has a fucking issue with that.
Like a stuttering?
Yeah, like
really?
I did not know that. As a matter of fact, somebody had made mention of it on Twitter and was mocking, and then they were called right out for it. And it's one of our friends, and I won't say who because obviously it was done in taste of this, just like me. I was thinking, what the fuck? You just keep stuttering, blah, blah, blah. And then the minute it was brought out about her stuttering problem, and like apparently like as a kid dropped on her head or something like that, or something hit her in the head.
Whoa.
And it fucked up her speech. So so it's actually like something serious. And the tweet was deleted, and they said they were sorry and everything like that. And I will completely agree. I never knew that until that.
Wow. I didn't either.
So it kind of pulled me away from the criticism for her stumbling and stuttering in the fucking promo. But Nick, her dropping the title her leaving the title in there, because obviously when Charlotte came out and cut her promo on SmackDown, there's no Raw Women's Champion right now. Ronda said she's not going to be the champion and she's going to fucking leave. She's Ronda Rousey. She doesn't need this fucking shit. She got all the fucking money at home.
Excuse me. I don't know what to think, honestly, because I mean, did she just kind of leave that title there just to kind of, spit in their face a little bit? But I'm still the champ. I'll get it back eventually. Or did she really relinquish the title? Like, is that we're going to have to wait till Raw? I mean, it's all speculation.
Yeah, Charlotte's saying that she's coming to fucking be the champ. I mean, she's still listed as the Raw Women's Champion.
It's opening it up for that three-way at WrestleMania. It really is. Not just that, but
what a good three-way.
Everything.
Joe, how did you feel about that on Raw?
Her promo or
the match leading into the segment, the fighting, the beating up, the breaking up, the promo against Stephanie, and her walking off, all of it. I look at it as one whole fucking thing.
The match itself, I didn't think much of. The promo, as far as like her stumbling over her words, and I actually didn't think it was that bad or even noticeable. I know she had a couple slip-ups, but honestly, I felt like what she was saying to Stephanie, that promo it seemed like that was more of like off the cuff with her, more ad-libbing, more of her actually talking than we usually get, which it just seemed like because everything she has said in the past and all of her previous promos seem very robotic and scripted. This one's seemed a little bit less robotic and scripted than what we've gotten from her in the past. So I actually enjoyed that part of it, and the couple of her fumbling over her lines did not bother me at all. I'm kind of with Nick on what does that mean, her laying the title down? Like, is she relinquishing that title? Is she relinquishing that title until they put Becky back in the match? What is she doing? Is she going to have that title with her when she shows up on Raw next week? Is she going to show up on Raw next week? Is Stephanie going to come out with that title next week? Like, kind of don't know what she totally meant by that.
I took it as this. I took it as, if you're not going to put Becky in this, I'm gone.
So basically,
Yeah.
that's one of the options.
Yeah, so
I'm
it's either-
relinquishing this title unless you put Becky in the match.
Or this is how serious I am to it. You could take this title right the fuck now and shove it up your ass, or you can put Becky in this match. Your choice with what's going to happen with this title. I'm either going to stay the Raw Women's Champion and you're going to hand this back to me and Becky's going to be in the match, or you're going to fucking do whatever the fuck with it. That's how I took it. I thought this was great, but I didn't think it was as great until I saw what happened on SmackDown the next night. SmackDown kicks off with a contract signing for the WWE Fastlane WWE Championship match. Daniel Bryan versus Kofi Kingston. Daniel Bryan sitting at the desk. They announce Kofi Kingston. Build him up huge. Beat this person. Beat this person. Lasted this long. Lasted that long. Pin. Deserving #1 contender for the WWE Championship, Kofi Kingston. Fucking New Day's music hits. They're all throwing pancakes and they're all fucking happy. They're all coming down. And then Kofi cuts a great promo. Wonderful fucking mic work from Kofi Kingston. You can never say that any of the New Day have ever been bad on the mic, but I love the fact that I think what's even built them up better is the fact that they've been given so much leeway.
Yeah.
You know, because Kofi was, back when the fucking day when he was Jamaican, he was just, hey, Kofi Kingston, man. You know, it wasn't like it was this great fucking promo cutter. But as a team of people who constantly feed off of each other and have been given a lot of leeway in this situation, I really think that helped Kofi a lot. And Kofi cut a promo saying, 11 years, man, just going off, talk about everything that he has fucking done and how he's been putting his time, he's been tag team champion, he's been wanting all this, and he's just been hoping for an opportunity. And that's all he wanted was an opportunity. And then he goes, now we can sit down. And he sits. And then Stephanie says, all right, Daniel, sign the paper. Daniel signs it. And she goes, all right, Kofi, you sign it. And then all of a sudden, Vince McMahon's motherfucking music hits. And he says, it's my job as the chairman of the board to give the people what they want. The biggest box office, anything. That's what we need to do. So, Kofi, I'm sorry. As much as you have done for this 11 years, you don't really deserve this. I have someone else who's more deserving, who is better in this bigger box office. And that's Kevin Owens. And then Owens comes out, goes straight past the New Day, sits, signs the paper, slides it over to Daniel. Daniel has to sign again, I guess. I don't know, but he did. And right there is when it hit me. Right there is when it fucking hit me. And I put it out on Twitter, and I commented on Xavier Woods' tweet with it. Took screenshots, and I said, this is fucking genius. The WWE are making Vince McMahon do exactly what everyone on the internet has been bitching that Vince McMahon does, is that it doesn't matter what the fans want to him, he's going to do whatever he wants no matter what. And now twice, he has fucked the two most over people in the company, Becky Lynch and Kofi Kingston. He fucked them both out of title matches.
Within 2 weeks.
Yes. Both times, also, and here's the real important part, stepping over Steph and Triple H, Steph and Shane McMahon. He has basically made them look stupid. Like, no, I see that you're trying to do, but that's not what I want to do. That's not what I'm the man. You're not the man. I'm the man. You know? And then this person's more deserving, Kevin Owens. Why? Kevin's been gone for months, you know, so on and so forth. So it was right there that I realized what they were doing. This is a great way to have the kids rebel against Vince and get Vince out of there, whether it be for real or storyline, but to get it to where everything they said in the end of December is finally coming to fruition. And my thought process on what they did then is they're getting Kofi a shot. Kofi's getting his title shot at Mania, possibly even winning it, you know. And obviously, it also is going to get Becky into the main event. Now, does this happen because Steph, Triple H, and Shane just finally go, fuck you, we're doing this anyway. You can't override it. Got to get out. Or is there going to be some sort of match to want their guy versus their guy, you know, so on and so forth. Joe, when all this was going on, what were your immediate thoughts and everything?
Pretty much same thing as you. It's like, all right, well, they're basically having Vince do. He's coming out and blatantly doing what everyone already accuses him of doing anyway. But why? Why are they doing this? Is it to really get him out of the picture? Is it to mock the IWC? Is it to... I really don't know.
Internet wrestling community. For anyone who doesn't know what the IWC is.
I really don't know what their end game is here. Obviously, we're definitely going to see Becky Lynch in that match at WrestleMania. Now, if we don't see... If there is not a payoff with Kofi Kingston and Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania, then there will be some seriously pissed off fans, because that is obviously the only payoff that will redeem this right now at all. How they get there, I don't know. I guess that's what will keep us intrigued on the road to WrestleMania, right?
Yeah. Nick.
I was a little shocked, to say the least. I knew that Kevin Owens was going to be coming back soon. He had hinted in one of his little promo videos that it wouldn't be for a while.
Yeah, in all of them. That's why I knew it was going to be really soon.
So
I'll be back in a couple of weeks or tomorrow.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty excited to see him. I wasn't really with the whole Kevin Owens thing before he left. I think he's a great wrestler. I was a little annoyed by his character, but I was excited to see him. And it throws a curveball. It throws a little wrench into things. I love the way they did it, because, like you said, we got so built up for Kofi. Kofi is so fucking over, and we're just like, okay, here we go. Here comes Fastlane. We're gonna be, jerked off again and see if he's gonna beat Daniel Bryan. And now, bye, Kofi.
Yeah.
See you later. I think he'll still play a role in it somewhere down the line. I like the idea of him at Mania against Daniel Bryan. I don't know how they're going to do it, but
so there was a lot of talk. All of the dirt sheets were talking about Kofi was going to lose at Fastlane, and you'd possibly see Kevin Owens versus Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania. Mm-hmm. Now, that being said, the way they introduced Kevin Owens as a person who everyone wanted to come back anyway. So the minute they said Kevin Owens, you heard that crowd was like, I don't know how to fucking act right now. It wasn't.
Well,
like,
they probably would have cheered him in any other situation, but
yeah, 100%. But that's why this one they were like,
Kofi's so over right now and such the face in the situation, and he's obviously, the picture's being painted to screw him over tremendously.
Yeah.
It's almost impossible to cheer for Kevin Owens in that situation, which was probably by design.
But what's great about it is it still was a 50-50 crowd at first. Like, there was eventually the people really got into the booze, but when it was like, they were all like, Vince is like, someone that's more deserving. They're like, what? He goes, someone that should be in this match that'll bring more of thing. Like, what? And they're like, someone like Kevin Owens. And they're like, wow, damn it, I don't know why. All right, fine. Boo. You know, and then even Kevin cutting his backstage promo, you can obviously tell he's playing the face role. He's like, look, I believe that Kofi should be there, so fucking give us a match. Rowan and Daniel Bryan versus me and Kofi. They're like, you want to team with the guy you just took a spot. And he's like, yeah, I'm still. They're like, how long have you known? He's like, it doesn't matter. I just know that he also deserves this. So let's go. So. And then SmackDown ended with Kevin pinning Daniel Bryan, obviously giving him a leg up going into the match. But at the same time, not screwing Kofi over. Working with Kofi in tandem, which keeps the whole crowd can't really boo him. You know, like, oh, it's like he's just kind of thrown into this. Where, unlike Charlotte, who the reason they booed is because she wiggled her way into it. You know? So that's why Charlotte got all the boos and, you know, Kofi, and Kevin Owens was mixed, and even at the end, kind of like, all right, we'll accept it. So I thought that was great writing by them. This is some of the best writing I've seen from WWE in fucking years. You know, to the point, like you said it, Joe, you were watching, you're like, holy shit, this stuff is good. When was the last time you saw Raw and SmackDown and go, this was good? Joe, can you remember?
No. I don't need to elaborate on that answer. No, I cannot remember at all.
Definitely not this year. It's been a while.
Been a while. Yeah, I can always. There's many times where I'm like, SmackDown's great.
Yeah.
Raw sucked. SmackDown's great. Raw sucked. SmackDown's great. Raw sucked. SmackDown's all right. You know, Raw's all right. You know, I've never, in a long time, been, like I said at the beginning of the show, been excited for the next week of WWE programming. And I agree with you, Joe. There's obviously more that can come in.
I will cite one what I think to be a negative on Raw.
Oh, we're definitely getting more
Okay.
stuff, but go for it. Yeah.
Well, you especially you said, no pun intended, you believed that the tag division on Raw was revived, the Revival winning, and you know, we're hoping to see them get a push, but you know, they were beaten handily and cleanly by these new NXT call-ups on Raw, and we, okay, I'm a fan of Ricochet and Aleister Black, and I'm a fan of the NXT product, but why are you going to beat your new tag team champs when you're trying to, no pun intended, revive your tag team division and revive these titles? And these guys just won these titles, and you're beating them clean already.
2 weeks in a row.
Yep, with rookies. No, well, not rookies, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. So I agree. There was many other tag teams that they could have brought out for Aleister and
Ricochet
to beat. Just like they did on fucking SmackDown. You know, like on SmackDown, they didn't beat the SmackDown tag team champions. They beat Rusev and Nakamura. They could have beaten the B team. They could have beaten
Gable and Rude.
Yeah, anything. They, you know, I agree that I 100% feel that the Revival should not have been in that match, and if the Revival were in a match, they should have won because they lost the week before. Now, a lot of people are bitching about why is fucking Black and Ricochet just going over so much? Like, there's this randomly put together tag team. How? Well, if you look in the future of NXT, spoiler alert, they're put together as a tag team in the Dusty Classic. So this is live, that is taped, that is down the line. So obviously you get Aleister and Ricochet as a tag team now, showing their prowess on Raw and SmackDown. So it makes sense that they're doing well in the Dusty Classic. Spoiler alert. But again, I agree, it did not need to be the Revival. I fully 100% am on board that there's no reason your Raw Tag Team Champions took 2 decisive losses 2 weeks in a row.
Even you said, and I said, you know, when we went over this when the Revival first won the belts, I said, you know, we were going around the table asking how we feel about this and how do we feel about its effect on the tag team division. And my thoughts were to be determined.
Right.
And you were like, well, I'm excited. I truly do have a spark back in me about this division. I'm excited about the Revival, but you said but they got to keep winning. They got to
make them look strong.
Got to make them look strong.
Yes.
Well, they're not looking strong, man.
They are not.
So How do you feel, being that was your approach when these guys first took the belts? Now that they've lost handily 2 weeks in a row by two NXT guys,
I honestly feel like
are they shitting on that tag division still?
I don't think they're shitting on the tag division because it's not. So
Are they shitting on the Revival?
Yes, I feel like the Revival is kind of getting shat on, 100%. Because again, I did not feel like, look, if you want to give them like it was DIY versus the Revival. The Revival went over a couple times on them. They're become the two-time
There's history
NXT
there.
champs, so I was like, all right with DIY.
That's not
getting
as
the
bad
pin.
as them getting beat by Aleister Black and Ricochet.
I agree. This week
and then
definitely hurt
that's
them
2
more.
weeks in a row.
Yes. This week definitely hurt them
This
more.
week's loss was worse than the DIY loss.
I 100% believe that. I think that as the Revival is coming through, they need to look like a strong tag team. Right now, they don't even have a fucking match on Fastlane.
Do they even have a victory since they've taken the titles?
The last victory was winning the tag team titles.
See, that's not good.
That's
I
a
agree.
slap in the face.
I don't want to say it's a slap in the face because the other
believe
problem
it
is
a little bit.
Now, playing devil's advocate for this, Broadcast from Australia, what's up again,
What's
man?
up, Brocast?
Aussie.
Aussie. Oi, oi, oi. Take a drink now, boys. I don't feel like the Revival are being thrown out as fodder. Drink.
Now I got to go get us all more beers.
But before you go, let me answer this question for you. The problem is I feel like there was a quick change made last Monday. When the NXT guys originally debuted. And these NXT guys needed to look strong. Better than anything you've ever debuted. Because
so 2 Mondays ago, you mean?
2 Mondays ago. Yeah, not this week, the Monday before.
Okay.
Whatever. I feel like there was a lot of stuff flipped around. And that's why, again, I wasn't too upset about them beating the Revival right off the bat. This week, though, you could have given them a different tag team. And it would have made them look strong. Like, yes, I also know that the next night on SmackDown, Ricochet, when being talked to by Lana, was like, obviously you don't realize we just beat the Raw Tag Team Champions. We're not no flash in the pan. We're a good team together, right? So I get that placating towards it. But
They could have came in looking strong on SmackDown against Nakamura and Rusev without beating the Revival.
I agree, and that's what I'm talking about. Like, but I guess now that I'm thinking about it, who are the other tag teams on Raw?
Like I said, they could have fought Rude and Gable. They could have fought Rude and Gable. They could have fought AOP.
ALP's one of half is injured.
They could have fought Rude and Gable.
I guess it's really only Rude and Gable.
How you feel about that tag division now, Mikey?
Well, I do know that there's injuries. Like, I guess the B team could have been there, man. Something I don't fucking know. But
They could have fought Rude and Gable, though. They really could.
not a joke. I mean, they just beat former tag team champions. They could have said that going in.
Well, when Rude and Gable lost, they just kind of took a break. So why not bring them back?
Right. Have them on the fucking show. Do something. I agree. There is a serious problem with the Revival getting 2 losses in a row. Just 100%. They needed to look better. Other than that, was there another weakness on Raw, Nick, in your eyes? Or was Raw a really good show? You know what? Okay, before we go into where was the weakness, let's talk more about Roman. Because obviously Roman made his announcement. He comes up the ramp. The fucking burn it down. I'm sorry. It was break it down. That's what it really says. At the beginning of our fucking show. Hits. Seth Rollins comes out. They share a hug. No Dean Ambrose. It came out that Dean Ambrose said that he did not want to be a part of this. Makes sense. Like, I'm not mad at, there's a lot of people going, oh, Dean Ambrose refuses to be a part of the Roman celebration at the top, blah, blah, blah. Well, yeah, the motherfucker just mocked him for having cancer.
Sure.
Weeks before. So why would he come out and celebrate? Now, that being said, then Dean Ambrose got himself into some shit. And this whole fucking group came back, and Roman came out and beat up with Seth Rollins, Corbin, McIntyre, Elias, who is now a part of this stable, and Bobby fucking Lashley. They saved him, and they walked the fuck off. Look back at him at the top of the ramp. Dean Ambrose was looking at him in the middle of the ring. I'm a little confused by that save.
Me too.
And the
Hashtag me too.
The look that Dean had on his face, like,
You know, because it was... I guess... All right. I'm confused by it. I like, here's how, if I was to have it play out, I would have done it. I would have had Seth come out first, right? Seth start getting hit. Then Roman comes out because of Seth. Obviously, they're still close. Seth, the week before, Dean was like, where were you, man? He's like, what? Are you fucking stupid? You know? But there was still some sort of camaraderie between Seth and Dean. So if Seth came out just to, look, man, there's still a brotherhood here, even though we've been fighting, because they've done it before. There's a reason Shield got back together. There's still that brotherhood there. So Seth comes out. Well, then Roman comes out for him. You know, not Roman and Seth at the same time. You know? And then they could have walked off. Like, and that's the only reason I was confused, is because it was like Seth was and Roman come out, but it was like to Roman's music, wasn't it? Roman's music hit. And then they both come out like Shield music hits, because obviously
at first it was Seth's music, and he started coming down with the chair, and then Roman's music hit, and he came up behind him.
Okay, so Seth wasn't. Yeah, that's right. Seth wasn't involved in anything at first. Roman came right behind Superman punch, and that was my problem with it. Is they both came out to save Dean, rather than one come out, start getting a little overwhelmed, and then the other come out, and then like Roman could have had the equalizer. But at the same time, I also don't know if Seth is cleared to take that, because all he did was he hit somebody over a rope and then hit a stomp. There was no defense on Seth's end. Right. Nobody laid a hand on him. And I also don't think anyone laid a hand on Roman.
Nope.
That doesn't surprise me. Like I was saying last week, I didn't even really figure Seth to be injured. So to see him out here this week doing a little something doesn't surprise me, but also doesn't surprise me just to be doing strictly offense and not taking any bumps. I can say the same thing for Roman, because honestly, it surprised me to see him do anything physical at all. Like, I was like, okay, he made an announcement. He's in remission. He's back. That being said, I still didn't expect to see him get involved in anything physically on that show. So that was a bit of a surprise to me. So, hell, I don't know. Caught me off guard, which is a good thing. Because that, usually doesn't happen with Raw.
Yeah, I definitely didn't expect Roman to get into any type of physical altercation one way or another. So,
yeah, coming out, hitting the Superman punches, hitting the spear. Obviously, it looks like he's ready for a match. I mean,
you know what I was thinking though, and unfortunately I don't think it's gonna happen.
What?
Like when Dean came back, like when Jericho comes back after hiatuses, I like to see people come back a little different, throw a little wrinkle in their game, add a little something, take a little something away, just change a little bit. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Jericho's always a little bit different version of himself. Dean came back this time as more of a wrestler, more of an athlete, a little bit less of a brawler until they kind of mess with his character. But, we noticed when he came back, he added some different moves to his repertoire, had a bit of a different look to him, I was hoping maybe we'd get a little bit of that with Roman, like maybe he drops a tactical vest or something, or a little bit, adds a move, or changes his look a little bit, just something.
Right.
And I know it's too early. Maybe he will. It's too early to tell. But that was kind of going through the back of my mind when he said that he was good to make his return.
I get what you're saying, though. It's nice to have that fresh factor. You know what I mean? Yeah.
You got to always be,
back,
to me, you always got to be reinventing. You got to always be thinking about, not being stale, bringing something new to the table every time, especially when you've been off for a period of time. You've had time to think about something that you knew that you can bring to the table. And you should. I think, as a performer, you should be challenging yourself at all times, especially during periods of time off, to prove your game, add things to add wrinkles to your game, whether it be look, whether it be moveset, whether it be promo, whether it be all the above, or a combination of them. You know,
I'd like to see them pull, no pun intended, the reins off of him for his promos now.
I agree.
I think that his last promo to leave and his first promo back were really heartfelt,
And-
obviously talked about and everything beforehand.
And how long have we heard from other wrestlers or whoever like
How
like,
much
dude,
charisma Roman
yeah, like
actually
Roman's
has?
cool as fuck. If you just when he's in the back, just talking like himself, like he's super cool. Like he's like, but they script everything he says out there, you know.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, and if his last two promos, his exit and then his return promo, were more of him and less of the creative team, and then we have heard all these reports about how he is a charismatic, entertaining dude, you know, in the locker room when he's not being scripted, when he's not cutting a promo, when he's not on camera. Well, give the guy a chance then.
Let me ask you this now. Roman have a match at WrestleMania 35?
That's this year's.
Yep.
I know they stopped doing the numbers. Will he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Gets to.
I don't know. They wouldn't have brought him back and put him on TV right now if he wasn't.
That was actually his call. Vince knew about this a week ago and left it up to Roman to decide when he wanted to come back, and Roman decided he wanted to come back. That's why it was announced. Why I think it was announced on Twitter that he was coming back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
that's-
posted that
Yeah,
or shared it, whatever.
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe he. If Dean's really not re-signing, maybe he retires Dean. Or retires Dean from the WWE. Puts Dean out on his back. Maybe.
I can see Sharon Corbin.
Because Dean talked all that shit about his cancer and yada yada. There's a story there already built, already written. They just have to tap into it.
That's what I was thinking
That's
too.
true.
You said Sharon.
Yeah.
Nobody wants
Shaban.
to see that, dude.
No, definitely not. Just he hinted at it after
Nobody
Roman.
wants to see Baron Corbin do anything with anybody.
So I agree that something has to be resolved with Baron Corbin.
He kind of
and
made word of that in
I
the back.
I would like to see maybe that happen at Fastlane.
Yeah.
You know,
Roman and Corbin?
Roman Corbin or
Sure, get Roman a decent win before going into Mania. That'd be fine, I guess. I wouldn't care about that match, but I
Would
would
you-
understand it.
Okay, well, here's the other thing. Could you see a possible Shield reunion at Fastlane?
Sure. I mean, why not? I mean, never say never in wrestling. Sure.
Now, if there is a Shield reunion at Fastlane,
Do
like,
I
let's
still
say-
see the Dean and
Yeah.
Roman match? That, I don't know.
I do.
It'd be quick to throw a monkey wrench in that. You'd have to do a quick something to break the group up again, real quick between Fastlane and Mania.
Want me to tell you how I see it happens?
Sure.
All right. Bobby Lashley, Baron Corbin, Drew McIntyre versus the Shield, right? Dean doesn't get tagged in at all.
Seth and Roman just run through them.
Not like run through, but just like Dean doesn't get tagged in at all. Even if he goes for a blind tag, he just misses them, right? So post that match on Raw, he's like, "What the hell?" And they're like, "Look, man, we're here. You know, we're the Shield and everything. We came out for you and everything. You're our brother, but you fucked up, and you said some things about me while I was gone that were messed up, that hurt me, that hurt my family, that, you know, things that you should not have said." And obviously, you know, Dean's been playing super stupid the last couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
But Dean goes,
It actually does play into his lunatic moniker where he's like, "Where were you?"
yeah.
It's just like, what do you mean? Well, that could be
Yeah.
Dean being a lunatic, like, you know.
So I think if they do a thing like that where you have no whatsoever tag in, it leaves a mark for like, well, then Dean spouts off. Well, you fucking knew you had it coming to you, blah, blah. And then it sets it up. And you're right. I could totally see Roman putting Dean out. Now, next question. And Nick, I'm going to give this to you. Fuck. I know. Don't you love it?
Mikey likes to put you on the spot.
I love putting everyone on the spot.
That's
I
good, though.
like to go back and forth.
Keeps you on your toes.
Seth is still injured. Seth still has back problems.
Mm-hmm.
If Seth's not ready to go by Mania, does Roman get his spot?
I'd hate to put it like this. I hope not. I hope not.
Why?
Because I really want to see Seth and Brock.
But
They piqued my interest.
I agree with that. I'm not arguing. I'm saying first, if you give Seth's spot to Roman just because, it's fucked up. If Seth's spot goes to Roman because of the injury, like if Seth can't compete, and that's all this is about. 100%, they know 2 weeks out of Mania, Seth can't compete. As far as they know, there's no set timetable for Seth's return. It's WrestleMania. You need someone in place. Does it go to Roman?
Yeah, I think it would. I think they'd be able to pull it off, and it'd be believable depending on the storyline leading up through Fastlane, the whole possible Shield reunion, and if they do it right, it would work.
I mean, he can always make the claim is I didn't lose that title.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know, so that puts him right in
Yeah.
there. It's like, oh, Seth can't go. We need someone to take it. Well, I'll take it.
Yep.
I never lost that title. So it won't even be a violation against Seth because then he could give Seth a title shot later, you know?
yeah.
Joe, do you see that happening? If Seth can't go, does Roman get the spot?
Yeah, I can see that happening, and for that very reason, because he had to relinquish the title due to an illness, he never officially lost it. The problem with that is the fans wouldn't shit on it because of the leukemia thing, but they would in the back of their minds they would all want to.
Yeah.
The people like
I think so.
Smitty and even the people like me who don't hate Roman Reigns as much as the people like Smitty, but like we remember last year's Mania where the fans just shat all over Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns, and we all saw, the documentary, the whatever, and Brock Lesnar throwing the belt at Vince and yada yada yada. We saw what a disaster that was, and for that match to take place again, for that to repeat itself at WrestleMania. If Roman did not have his bout with leukemia, the fans would just, that stadium would be filled with diarrhea, okay? But the only thing stopping the fans from shatting all over it would be the leukemia thing. So it would be, you're not going to get huge, like, real organic pops. You're just going to get, like, people almost fake cheering and holding back boos.
If they boo, then they're gonna look like shit.
Exactly, dude. It's gonna be fake reactions. It's gonna be inhibited reactions.
All right, well, let me ask you this then.
I'm telling me I'm wrong. I don't know.
I'm not telling you you're
wrong.
That's a real good opinion. It's a real good point. I will not tell you you're wrong. I will ask, if Roman gets that spot, who's the main event match? Is Becky and Ronda
it doesn't matter. It's always been that. Dude, they've been programming us for that. Like, it doesn't matter whether Becky was, or whatever she is organically over the new female version of Stone Cold. This year's WrestleMania was always going to be a women's main event.
So you think if Roman gets the spot, gets Seth's spot, cancer beater, cancer survivor, you're telling me Vince doesn't put Roman and Brock in the last match?
No.
Second to last match.
It's going to be the second last match. If the women go first, the Universal title.
No.
If the women go last, the Universal title is going to be the second last no matter what.
Dude, none of the guys have been really over at all this year. I almost think that's by design. I really think that there's almost a bit of a conspiracy thing here to make this the year of the woman, the year of the women main eventing WrestleMania. I think they've had this plan in place for at least a year, maybe longer, and no matter what it was, they're going to keep any guy from getting too over, and they're going to make sure that the women were in the spotlight for this to happen. It was probably originally going to be Charlotte and Ronda, but then Becky, things changed. She kind of organically got herself over now she's in that picture. But either way, it was going to be a women's main event at this year's Mania, no matter what. In my mind, that's just my opinion, but that's what I believe.
See, if Seth didn't have the year he had, I would totally believe you on that. I would totally buy into that. The problem was Seth had a fucking nuts
Doesn't
year.
matter, dude. They can't. It's already been pretty much slated and advertised that the women are gonna, like, officially, unofficially main event WrestleMania this year. And no matter what happened this year with Seth and with Roman, you can't tease. You can't tease the fans, and especially the fans of the women's division, and just the fans of the women's evolution and the feminist movement in general. You can't do that, dude. They'll get too much.
Even if it's because of a cancer survivor?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I think that's just an area you can't fucking say you're wrong about.
I think they've got too much momentum with the women's movement because they
can't stop this main event.
In succession. I know this past Survivor Series wasn't. It was the Survivor Series before with the women versus women, and then you had the Hell in a Cell, and you had the Elimination Chamber, and you had Evolution, and it's snowballing. So for them to not put a main event women's match,
and they were building towards this on
that's just going to
purpose.
deflate it.
They were subconsciously programming our brains to be prepared for this. This was in their plans for a long time. So Roman and or Seth could go in there, semi-main, second to last match, tear the house down, make the fans cry with a feel-good moment, have a hell of a match, have a tearjerker moment, have a WrestleMania moment, historical moment, and that will all be fine and well. And nobody's ever going to say anything about that, saying, oh, well, that should have been the last match. No one's ever going to say that. As long as it comes off good and whoever is supposed to look good does, and whatever moment they're trying to capture and achieve happens, it'll be fine. And then the women can go on last, just like their plan, and it can be the affirmation of the women's evolution and revolution, just like their plan, and everything will go off without a hitch, just like their plan. And everybody will come out looking good. I just think that this was predetermined for a long time to have the women main event this year's WrestleMania, and they're not gonna stray from that no matter what's happening organically with Seth and Roman.
It'll all come full circle. There's no more for the women left to do. Yeah, as firsts are concerned.
I don't know, man. I believe that the only way the women don't go on last is if Roman gets that spot.
Even if he gets a spot, they're still going on last, in my opinion.
I understand, but my thought process is WrestleMania. If you're closing out WrestleMania with the most feel-good moment you can, it's not. And if Roman has that, Roman against Brock, Becky winning that belt over Ronda Rousey is not the most. As a matter of fact, I don't even think Becky wins at WrestleMania now. I think Ronda would pin Charlotte.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And then Becky and Ronda later.
Well, yeah, you wouldn't want to outshine Roman's moment. The fact is, the match could follow the women's match, but to have it eclipse that Roman match,
and that's what I'm saying. Yeah. I don't think there's if Roman gets that spot, there is no more feel good moment than Roman winning that title back. And that's why I would think that Becky wouldn't win, and people would be like, "Oh, okay, all right, well, at least they didn't go off with that."
Yeah,
and then Roman would win, and everyone would be like, "Oh my God, Roman won!" And then you'd see Becky beat Ronda later, possibly SummerSlam.
Mm-hmm.
I disagree with you guys. At WrestleMania, it's a culmination of everything throughout the year. I think at that point they would just want to send all the fans home happy, and why not give you two good feel good moments? It's two different things. They're unrelated. It's two different divisions. It's the men's and the women's. They're not competing with each other. It's two separate playing fields. Why not give the fans of the men and the fans of the women something both to go home happy with. Why not? It's WrestleMania.
Because you don't want to kill a crowd before the biggest pop of the night. If you're putting on that women's match right before the men's match, you can't have them blow their load of cheers with Becky winning. Because then if Brock goes on, we've seen it before many times. There's been times where we've watched 2 great matches in a row.
Well, then maybe they have to separate them more by a match or 2.
Then it's even worse.
Not necessarily. You have your peaks and valleys, and you put a valley match in there in between.
Man, I feel, but that's why I feel like you don't give Becky the win.
Dude,
You don't give her the loss, but you don't give her the win. You put her right in the middle to where she can say something.
WrestleMania is the show where you get your payoffs.
I agree with that.
It's not the show where you extend storylines. It's a show where storylines culminate, and then the new beginning starts the next day. You don't extend any storylines at WrestleMania. You don't extend Becky to SummerSlam. You pay her off.
I can't agree with that either because there's a fucking show after WrestleMania called Backlash. It's all predicated on everything that happened at WrestleMania. You're following up on it.
Yeah, but still, the Raw after Mania is always looked at as kind of like turning the page on the previous year of wrestling. That's kind of like the starting over point. Backlash is just a name for a pay-per-view.
Yeah, but I don't know, man. I feel that's just. Ooh.
Raw's when they that Raw's when you see a lot of returning guys or new guys or it's always a raucous almost party of a Raw.
Mm-hmm.
It's always the craziest Raw of the year. Something unexpected always happens, or at least what they want to be unexpected. Obviously, sometimes spoilers and leaks happen.
Yeah, we see it all.
But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's the start of a new year. Even though it's not in January, it's the start of their new year.
Last thing we talk about on, I guess it can't be the last thing we talk about for the shows. R-Truth defended his United States title against Rey Mysterio and Andrade.
Fucking great
Yeah,
match.
it was a cool match.
And he got the pin on Rey Mysterio, and the fucking crowd popped. Just like I was saying before, possibly like Rey Mysterio, the ultimate babyface. No one should ever get a bigger pop than him, for winning or someone beating him. It should always be kind of a boo. That fucking him getting booed coming out number 30 at 5 years ago's Royal Rumble, and R-Truth getting a major pop.
I don't think it's a slight against Ray. It's just
No, I don't think it's a slight against Ray at all. I think the people
what I was
are
saying
just
a few
so
weeks
in
ago.
their-
Like, how good is R-Truth, and how under the radar, underrated, underutilized has this guy been? And just this guy is so freaking good. You can just plug him in at any time, and he's right there. I mean, look at this man.
He's not a young
hanging.
guy either.
No, he's not. He's almost 50 years old, and you wouldn't know. And him and Ray, they are just defying the clock. They are just giving the middle finger to Father Time, which I love. These guys are performing at a.
He's 47. R-Truth is 47.
And
years
Ray's
old.
what, 44, 45?
Looking up.
I mean, these guys are performing at the highest of high levels.
Yes.
And I've been a fan of R-Truth
44.
for since he was Kid Quick.
Okay, quick.
And
Okay,
his-
quick.
I've always thought that they should use him in a more prominent role, but I understand, he's a very popular guy within the company. He's very happy with his job, and he's a company guy. He'll do
Complacent.
whatever is asked of him. I just wish that whatever was asked of him was more, because they've squandered him a lot over the years, and it's good to see them getting some solid use out of him right now. And that's another one where I was telling you I was watching this week's wrestling with my girlfriend, and we were watching that match, and the match was on. I looked at her, I was like, God damn, that was a good fucking match, man. Like, I was like, props, WWE, like, good on you, man. Like, I can't even bitch like I normally would. Like, that was great.
Let's say Andrade took that U.S. title. And just Andrade, not Ray, because I think if Ray would have taken it, I wouldn't have been too excited about Ray winning it over Truth. But if Andrade would have won it, I know me personally, I would have been like, oh, I mean, I'm not mad. I think Truth should have got a better run, but for him to hand it over to Andrade to give Andrade a decent run with it, I wouldn't have been mad about that. Would it have? What about you, Nick? Would you? But it's something that you were like, Truth needs this longer. That's annoying.
It wouldn't have annoyed me. I do think Truth needs a good run with it. But yeah, Andrade's a solid wrestler. I like his character. I wouldn't have had a problem with it.
Joe?
I was honestly so excited just about the caliber of the work rate in the match that I probably wouldn't have been bummed out. I would have, like where Nick said, I probably would not have been bummed out. I would have wished Truth would have gotten longer of a run. But being in the role that they've used Truth in for so many years, I wouldn't have been like, okay, well, I'm not surprised I'm not surprised they took the strap off him that quick. But I would have been like, I'm not surprised they took the strap off him, but at least it was a great match. That's where I would have been at. Mm-hmm. I'm happier they didn't take the title off him. So to me, like, this just means Truth can move on with something else and someone else, and then Andrade and Ray can further their story with each other. And in the meantime, we just got an awesome 3-way match on TV, which was great. It was fun. It was a great match to watch.
Love a good 3-way.
Yeah, dude. I mean, in more ways than one.
What's up?
I mean, in Ray just at an elder statesman age, and he's done it all and really has nothing else to prove. But still, whether it be a pay-per-view, whether it be All In or the couple of New Japan dates he worked last year, or WWE, it seems like every time you see him on TV, every time you see him wrestle, every time you see him in a ring, every week, he brings something different. He's always finding ways to innovate and up his game, even at this state in his career. It's just refreshing to see that. He works at such a high level, and he's so dedicated to his craft, and he's always trying to be creative and just up it even more. Like, when you think the level can't be upped anymore, he'll find a way. Mm-hmm. And it's just fun. Ray is just fun, period, to watch.
Next, final thing we'll talk about for the wrestling before we go into all these Hall of Fame things that have been announced the last 2 weeks. Right before the U.S. title open challenge of R-Truth channeling his inner John Cena idol.
That's kind of funny. I don't really know where he was going with that, but it was pretty entertaining.
Got the 5-knuckle shuffle
He
off.
did, too. He did it better than Cena ever did.
Pulled it off. He did.
The man himself, Matt Hardy, made his return with Jeff, and they beat the bar.
Looking great.
Yeah.
So fucking thin.
Yeah, I saw like a picture on Instagram where he was like, giving shout outs to his dietitian and his personal trainer and some supplement company and whatever. And I saw him like posing and flexing around. I was like, he was looking pretty good. I didn't think much of it, I didn't think that was going to mean, because I kind of thought he was basically retired.
Yeah.
But then, like, I guess we find out he never said he was retired. He apparently just took a little time off for some nagging injuries, and also apparently to get himself into some phenomenal shape, because Matt looks better than he has in 10 years.
Yeah, for sure.
Physically, anyway. I mean, mentally, obviously, character-wise, he's already done some revolutionary things. But from a physical standpoint, he's looking better right now. And I know we just saw him for one match, but just based on his physical appearance, he looks better than he has in a long time.
When you had made mention earlier how you like to see guys change things up a little bit when they come back, from what I've read, he's dropping the Woken gimmick. So
no, he didn't. He's still doing the delete and stuff when he was on his way out.
Just the whole, like, trench coat, speaking in tongues a little bit, that whole...
Well, he might have dropped the trench coat thing just to show off that rockin' bod of his now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's...
Matt Hardy, look at me. Oh, yeah. Cream will rise to the top. Yeah.
You know, the trench coat, that whole
Drunken.
trench coat thing might have been to cover up that beer gut is in the first place anyway.
Yeah, it's my beer gut. That beer gut has been deleted. Delete.
The six-pack has been woken.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Come back from the lake of reincarnation. Yeah.
No, that was great. That was another thing that did not expect to see that, man. Totally didn't expect to see that. So, in this day and age, with kayfabe being dead, with the curtain being pulled back as much as it is, and wrestlers not afraid to, give their secrets out, show them true selves, give you the behind the scenes on gimmicks and storylines, and it's refreshing to see shit still in this modern era that surprises you and makes you go, whoa, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And that was one of those moments, like, that was it, because I did get spoiled on Batista and a few other things, because I usually never watch wrestling live. I'm always catching the replay or at least tuning in a little bit late. I just don't have the time. That's how my schedule works. That's why I don't really tweet live, because I'm not watching it live.
Yeah,
I suck at Twitter.
Raw and SmackDown within 3 days.
But that is one of the things I did not get spoiled on, even though I didn't watch it live, was Matt making his return. So when I saw the Hardy Boys coming, I was like, effing sweet, yo. Hell yeah, dude. So there are several
Did you just
things.
bleep yourself on an appropriate show?
I don't know. I do that here and there. I got a kid.
Because he has a kid.
Yeah.
I'm all like, fuck shit, cockmaster.
Yeah, I mean, I usually am too.
My kid's like, what's a cockmaster? And I'm like, your mom at one point.
That's why you're here. But yeah,
I don't get it.
It's still.
Your mom did.
That's why I don't go out of my way to read spoiler reports. As a matter of fact, I try to avoid them. And on big events, I know if I'm going to be tuning in late or whatever, I will try to put myself in the bubble. There are times where, like, you open your Facebook or your Twitter or whatever, and you're just getting bombarded with shit, and you're getting spoiled with shit whether you want to or not. But that I'm not, because there are people out there that go out of their way they want to know what's going to happen before.
Yeah.
Like, why do you want to know? That takes the fun out of it.
Yeah.
So I'm one of those that goes out of their way to not know.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was cool to not be spoiled on Matt's return, and it was cool to watch it in essence, at least for my sake, live, and being surprised by it.
Now, the next question that I have regarding this is the Bar just lost 2 weeks in a row. Once to DIY, now to the Hardys. Are they losing their steam, or is it okay because they're not the tag team champions?
They were always, and especially Cesaro, and we talked about this last week too, the tag division, as competitive and as good as a lot of the SmackDown tag matches were, it's been 3 teams, the Bar, Usos, and New Day. So one of those 3 teams is going to be losing on a regular basis. So they've already been like a victim of 50-50 booking a lot recently anyway, just as Revival has. The only thing is the Revival were kind of put in a position to, like, all right, we're going to use the Revival to revive the Raw tag team division.
Right.
The Bar weren't really put in that position, so them losing isn't as big as a, like, what the fuck as, like, the Revival losing 2 weeks. Does that make any sense to you?
Yeah.
So I don't think it's as big as a deal. Even it should be, but it's not. Just because of how they've been positioned up until this point, it should be a big deal. No, they shouldn't be losing like that. You're right, but is it as big as a deal? Like, as the I don't know. No, it's not.
Nick, does it affect you in a negative way, or you're just like, whatever?
No. I mean, I like the Bar, but it's time for them to kind of
Love the Bar. We should go after this.
it doesn't bother me. It really
right.
doesn't.
One thing we didn't get into last week that, man, blew right by our radar. Before we actually go into the Hall of Fame stuff, there was one huge piece of news that pissed off Vince McMahon pretty heavily. And that is the man that never wavered during the Monday Night Wars is going to StarCast. Undertaker. The dead man is what he's going by, obviously.
Do we know that this pissed off Vince McMahon? I mean, how do we really know that?
There is a lot of reports saying that it's the reason now that something else to wrestle with won't be on the WWE Network for season 2, even though it was kind of picked up. There was talk about bringing it back.
But now there's talk about Conrad Thompson getting hired by WWE. Why? I don't know, but there's...
For what?
That's what I said. I don't know. Because he's been silent on Twitter when just recently he's been very active with AEW, and now he's not.
I didn't hear any of that. Did you hear any of that?
No, not about Conrad.
Yeah, the stuff with Conrad was a little bit caught me off guard right there. Nick, when you heard the news of Taker, dead man, going to StarCast, did you think that was a shot at Vince or shot at WWE? Or did you just think, hey, I like this?
No, I didn't think it was a shot at Vince or WWE. It's the Undertaker trying to, and maybe I'm wrong, but just trying to, it's late in his career.
His career's over.
He's just trying to milk anything he can.
Well, dude, I heard he's getting anywhere from $25,000 to $60,000 per public appearance. So, yeah, he's gonna do this.
Yeah, why not?
Fuck you, Vince. You get $25,000 for a day.
Not like he's got to do that much work.
Right. It's not like he talks that much anyway.
Is it a fuck you to Vince? Him going?
No. Vince may take it as that, but it's not.
All right.
Vince likes to think that...
The world revolves around him?
Yeah, and his is the only world that people live in. Well, sorry, Vince, there's other stuff out there besides you and your WWE.
I don't believe that. I don't see it. I don't see it. All right. WWE Hall of Fame inductions. First, the big one, the one announced last week. D-Generation X, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, X-Pac, Road Dogg, the badass Billy Gunn, and China. Someone that people have wanted into WWE for a very long time. China is finally getting an induction, even though it's not separate as a woman's wrestler. She's not going in by herself. It's China going in. Is this the way she deserves to go in first? Should she have been put in separately, or is a group with DX to see how it goes and maybe by herself next year as another 2-time induction into the Hall of Fame a good thing? What do you think, Joe?
Like China going in twice?
Or the beginning of this right now, is this how she should have gone in? Should she have gone in by herself in the women's division first?
No, I think this is shady.
You think this is shady?
Yeah, I think this is a way of sneaking her in with a group to not have to deal with the controversy of putting her in by herself and then having to talk about her porn career and her drug problems.
So then, does DX not belong in the Hall of Fame?
They do. But I just think this is...
So you think she should have gone in first by herself? You think this is the sneak, or is there a possibility that she also goes in by herself as a woman this year? Because
this year, no. Could it? No, they're not going to put her in twice in 1 year. And then if they do put her in next year or whatever, a different year after, I think it's going to be like... what's the phrase or word I'm looking for?
Too little, too late?
Yeah, I was going to look to say it a little bit more articulately than that. But, yeah. Not all for naught, but I just... Yeah, I guess that'll work. It'd be... If they if they put her in separately after this, a different year, it's kind of like a slap in the face, too little, too late. That's just my opinion. You know, am I right? I don't know. Am I wrong? I don't know. It's an opinion. All this whole business is subjective. So, and even the Hall of Fame is subjective. It's not like we're going off stats like a baseball player here. So, it's all just subjective. And if I'm being subjective, that's how I feel about it.
It's definitely sneaky how they're bringing her in. I like the Monty Python meme where China.
I like the Trojan horse meme.
Yeah, she's inside the horse. And,
Yeah, the horse is DX.
But you know, it is a little shady. And then where do you draw the line if you decide to put her in twice, once with DX and once on her own? Do you wait a year? Do you wait?
I mean,
because
like
5 years?
look at, because like okay, Shawn Michaels went in by himself first, and then DX. Ric Flair went in by himself first, and then Four Horsemen. Now Triple H, not. But Triple H is different because Triple H is a McMahon. He's an owner. Like, he's another one where, like, it almost be... And he's still somewhat of an active wrestler. So he's another one where it's like, he's almost Trojan horsed into this, too, but for different reasons because... You know, if Triple H was to go in without DX, especially at this point in time, people be like, oh, fucking McMahon, fucking Stephanie, fucking COO, blah, 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 blah. But, and I'm not saying that's why they're putting DX in is to get Triple H and China in, but this is a way that China and Triple H can both go in without it raising eyebrows.
What about X-Pac?
X-Pac, I think he's just, what's the term? Guilty by association? He's just kind of lucky by association. He's riding everyone else's coattails, in my opinion. I know he's the 1, 2, 3 kid and did the historical beaten Razor Ramon thing, but
That's
you know
not Hall
what?
of Fame
It was
worthy.
booked that way, okay?
Technically, isn't everything booked that way?
Yeah, but come on. What, besides that, beating Razor, what historic, oh shit, what groundbreaking, super memorable moment do you remember X-Pac participating in at all?
He was a wonderful tag team competitor with Kane.
So was RVD.
He was
So was Undertaker.
spectacular in fighting Shane McMahon. No, I'm just kidding. Fucking guy. Road Dogg and Billy Gunn. They're also a part of this.
I think they're more deserving than X-Pac, both of them.
I agree. Do you think so? You think that should they have gone as a tag team first?
In my opinion, the Outlaws alone are Hall of Fame worthy, without DX.
Yeah.
So I got no problems with them.
Should they have gone in before the group?
To me, that doesn't matter. I don't know.
So it only matters for the Triple H China thing because it's kind of like sneaking them into the Hall of Fame?
I think so. And Triple H isn't really being snuck in. It's just like he's kind of getting in by proxy, but at the same time, it is a way for him to be in the Hall of Fame without being singled out as daddy's boy or daddy-in-law's boy. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Well, he's going to get into the Hall of Fame on his own eventually.
Right. But for him to go in now by himself, like say they picked Triple H to go in this year and DX wasn't a nominee, people would be like, what the fuck? You know? Be like, okay, boss's son-in-law, okay, boss's husband, but you know, okay, COO, but now he can go in with DX and no one's gonna bat an eye.
So, okay, but does Triple H deserve a single shot in the Hall of Fame?
I mean, if fucking Coco's there, then yeah. But dude, I mean, I've said this before, dude.
That's quite the comparison.
I don't. There's never been really memorable matches with Triple H. There's never been. He's good promo guy. He can be funny. He can be cutthroat. as a heel on the microphone. He gets the business and all that. Great worker, all that, but he's not spectacular. I don't remember a lot of standout moments from him. And quite frankly, as much as he's been the top guy in that company, in my opinion, he's never really been the top guy. He's the guy that wrestles the top guy. He's the guy that wrestles The Rock. He's the guy that wrestles Undertaker. He's the guy that wrestles Shawn. He's not the guy. He's the guy that either wins or loses to the guy.
So let me give you a little bit of what pro wrestling PWI has given Triple H. We're not going to talk any of the WWE accomplishments because obviously that's all booked storyline possible. You can argue that boss's son, so on and so forth. Pro Wrestling Illustrated gave him the feud of the year 4 years: 2000, 2004, 2009, 2013. First was with Kurt Angle. Second was Chris Benoit. Third was Randy Orton. Fourth was Daniel Bryan. Gave him match of the year 2004, Chris Benoit and Shawn Michaels, WrestleMania 20. Match of the year 2012, Undertaker versus Undertaker in the Hell in a Cell match.
I disagree with that one.
In 2012, you don't think that was the best match of the year in 2012?
No, and I think the other one was due to the work of Benoit and Shawn and not him. And just the feel-good moment of Benoit winning that title.
What do you think was better in 2012? Name a match in 2012 that stuck out more to you.
I don't know, because I was really tuned out of that product at that time, but I do remember watching that match and just being underwhelmed with it.
All right. Most hated wrestler of the decade, 2000 to 2009. Most hated wrestler of the year, 2003 to 2005. Most hated wrestler of the year, 2014, was Stephanie McMahon. Most hated wrestler of the year, 2013, as a member of the Authority. Wrestler of the decade, 2000 to 2009. Wrestler of the year in 2008. Ranked number one in the top 500 singles wrestlers, PWI 500 in 2000 and 2009. Ranked number...
How much have we dogged PWI and all that shit being a work anyway? And that's their opinion, not mine. And this is all
not
subjective.
Arguing that. I agree with that 100%. I'm not arguing. What I'm saying is you said, what has Triple H done?
To me,
and now granted,
the only
you just
feud
said
that
at
I
the
would
same
agree
time.
with out of that was would be him and Randy Orton, because that was actually fun, and that was because of what Randy Orton did. Like,
okay, well let's go to Wrestling Observer. All right, so Meltzer, who we've all mocked many a times. Triple H has been given the best booker in 2015 with Ryan Ward, obviously for
that's
NXT.
NXT.
Yep, feud of the year.
That's not his in-ring work.
But listen, feud of the year. First off, NXT is a major part of WWE.
I know,
That
but I'm
is a
talking.
huge-
I'm talking about Triple H
Okay.
purely as the performer here.
Feud of the year 2000 versus Mick Foley. Feud of the year 2004 versus Chris Benoit and Shawn Michaels. Feud of the year in 2005 versus Batista. Wrestler of the year in 2000. Most disgusting promotional tactic. Accusing Kane of necrophilia. Katie Vick in 2002. But then here's funny. Most overrated 2002 through 2004 and 2009. The reader's least favorite in 2002, 2003. Worst feud of the year in 2002. Surprise. Worst feud of the year was Shawn Michaels versus Vince McMahon and Shane McMahon in 2006.
I actually thought that was funny, dude. Dude,
that
now
was like
that
when they
is-
dropped the poop on him and everything.
No, I didn't like that. But when Shawn and yeah, that was actually pretty fucking funny,
holy
dude.
shit.
I remember actually watching that like live and laughing my ass off at that.
Worst worked match of the year 2003 versus Scott Steiner at the Royal Rumble.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
Worst worked match of the year 2008 versus Edge, Vladimir Kozlov at Survivor Series. But
Probably blame that one on Kozlov.
he's in the Wrestling Observer newsletter Hall of Fame 2005.
Whatever. It's all subjective.
I agree.
I'm giving you my opinion. Not a lot of what he's done ever stands out in my mind. And if it does, it's because of his opponents and not him.
But it takes two to tango, man. Like,
Shawn Michaels could wrestle a broom.
I don't believe that.
I do.
I love Shawn Michaels. I love Kurt Angle. I I could see them maybe do it once. I'm not gonna argue that, but that's it. Then you're all of a sudden you're just okay. This is dumb. Like I feel like to have a consecutive series of matches and everything.
How do you feel about Triple H, the performer? Is he?
I think Triple H's career is definitely
is
Hall
he
of Fame
standoutish to you?
I think there are moments that are definitely
And
standoutish to me.
He prides himself on being the cerebral assassin and just master psychology. I have a big problem with just his sledgehammer
Why?
because it's tickle butt. It makes me roll my eyes. He never really swings a sledgehammer on anyone the way you would. He grabs it with his hand, covering the end of the sledgehammer, and it's not realistic. Like, if you're gonna swing a sledgehammer on someone, it's going to kill them. Okay? So, like, don't even bring it down to the ring. It's like in Ring of Honor, like with the Kingdom, like a guy named Vinny Marseglia brings an axe down to the ring. Like, what are you gonna do? You gonna fucking murder someone? Why don't you just bring a machine gun down? Stop it. All right, like, just stop. This is wrestling. You're not gonna smash anyone's fucking skull with a fucking sledgehammer. Like, it's dumb.
Do you like Huey Lewis in the news?
As Triple H as a performer to me, I feel like he's Hall of Fame worthy. Even more so after NXT stuff. Like
that's separate. Triple H, the NXT booker, is separate from Triple H, the performer. Now, if you want to say
that it's different aspects of his career,
but
that's like saying that Vince McMahon Sr. or Vince McMahon don't deserve to be in the WWE Hall of Fame because
if you
want
to put Triple H in the Hall of Fame for what he's done with NXT alone, okay, I get that, and even as a performer, I guess just because of his tenure and his accomplishments, fine. All I'm saying to me is he doesn't stand out in my mind as standoutish at all, even as a top 10 or any of that. Maybe top 25.
Oh, I won't argue that. I won't. Oh, fuck
and
no,
that,
dude.
that might
I'm the same fucking
that
guy
might
that says
even be
Undertaker's
pushing-
not top 10.
I might even
So-
agree with you on that.
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest Undertaker guy either, dude.
Yeah, we've had many a discussion where
I'm
I've
not
said
the biggest Undertaker guy.
Undertaker isn't even a top 10 fucking wrestler. He's a great gimmick, one of the best big men. I'll give you that.
Like,
But
trust me, the two
overall-
matches at Mania with Shawn, I was rooting for Shawn. And I knew that wasn't going to happen, but I was still rooting for him,
Nick, where do you feel with this DX thing or Triple H? And are we? You kind of said yes. You feel like we're kind of sneaking China in, but what else?
I think Joe's take is pretty interesting. That Triple H has always been the man that fights the man. I think he's been good in the ring. I think his tenure and the types of matches, the people he's fought, the titles he's held, the chaos that he helped create with DX, I think as a whole, you can't not put him in the WWE Hall of Fame. When you look at the grand scheme of things, who they've put in, Triple H, you can't leave him out. I think DX is definitely the way to go for him to go in first before him on his own. It's too early for him on his own. He's still doing, I think, some of these guys that they let in while they're still active in some way,
Only
shape,
Ric
or form.
Flair has been. Now Triple H is number 2.
Yeah.
By the way.
No, that's not true. They put Hogan in, and then Hogan had a pretty significant run in the company after he was in.
But currently, but when Hogan was in, he wasn't wrestling in the company.
But then he came back and wrestled
I agree, but-
pretty much full time after that for a while,
Yeah,
actually.
but what I'm saying is, like, when they put people in the Hall of Fame, the only person who was an active wrestler in the Hall of Fame that's put into the Hall of Fame was Ric Flair. Still true.
Angle's doing it now.
And
Yeah.
but at the same time, when he came back, he wasn't an active wrestler, and he wasn't an active wrestler again until months later. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that people in the Hall of Fame haven't come back to wrestle.
Right.
There's been even people in the Hall of Fame that have come back and had matches on Royal Rumble. But currently, at the time, booked to wrestle, it's only been Ric Flair. And now, especially if they
But
get this
that was
announcement-
just he was booked for his retirement match. Didn't he go in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah,
the
but
year
he was still
retired?
but he was still booked for a match, and Triple H is going to be booked for a match versus Batista at WrestleMania as well. Continue. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, no, it's okay. So if there's still an active member of the roster, I think the DX thing, that's fine because it's DX as a whole, and DX should be in the Hall of Fame. But I don't think Triple H should go in on his own just yet. Still needs some time. Once he's taken that back seat to not having the possibility of being in a match or even being on TV.
Maybe if he hadn't been on TV for a while, and maybe if he wasn't married to Steph and is high up in the front office, and he's got stake in the company. If he wasn't who he is within the company, and we hadn't seen him in a while, and he was just Triple H the wrestler without being married, he's done everything that he's done without being tied into the McMahons or being part of the front office, then maybe. But if they were to do it now with who he is within the company, I think it would rub a lot of people the wrong way.
Yeah. But overall, I mean, I definitely think he's an appropriate person to be in. I think
DX as a group should be in, for
Yes.
sure. They deserve to be in. What they did for the business, I mean, they'll get a lot of shit, and they always will, for being kind of a copy of NWO. And maybe they were. But they still did a lot of revolutionary historical things on their own, and invading Monday Night Nitro. That was pretty cool. They did a lot of cool stuff, man. So, yeah, they deserve to be there.
Yeah.
It's kind of coincidental, and almost it works out with Triple H. But with China, I can almost guarantee that it was all right, this is a good way to get China in.
Yeah.
I'm sure that wasn't like what they were thinking with Triple H. It just kind of happened that way, and it also worked out that way. But I'm pretty sure that someone at some point was like, all right, this is a really good way to open the door to get China in. And I'm not even saying that that's the motivation behind inducting DX, but it's like killing two birds with one stone. It's definitely positive that comes, not that it's not positive to begin with to induct DX because they deserve it, but it's another positive that comes along with inducting DX. It helps give you a pill to cure that China ailment. It's the first step in curing that ailment.
It's funny. I'm scrolling through the people in the WWE Hall of Fame right now, and because I was trying to see if Vince McMahon Jr. is in it.
No, he's not.
He's not, because I'm trying to think when
He will never be in it until like posthumously, because he won't allow himself to be. I'm sure.
Now, do you think that same thing is going to happen with Triple H? Is he not going to allow himself to go in until after he passes away? Because obviously, him and Stephanie are taking over the company.
No, I don't know. I don't know about that. I just don't know. I don't think Triple H has like the weird egotistical hang-ups that Vince does in that manner. So I think if the consensus, not that Tripp isn't one of the powers to be, but if some of the other powers to be besides him and the consensus were to want to put him in the Hall of Fame after he had been, actively retired from in-ring work for a while, quite a long time, and out of the spotlight, except for maybe, head of NXT or whatever, I don't see him taking like that head badass authority figure role that Mr. McMahon has taken over the years. I actually kind of see him doing the opposite for obvious reasons. So if he's been out of the spotlight for some time, not an active wrestler, and, it was others of influence that wanted him in, yeah, I think he would go in still alive, not posthumously. I think he would accept that.
All right. Now let's move on to the next inductee of the Hall of Fame before we close up the show. It announced this week on SmackDown, which I kind of liked the fact that they did it on SmackDown rather than Raw, mainly because of all the things that were going on Raw. But they announced that the Honky Tonk Man, a man who held the Intercontinental Championship for, I believe it was 454, 434 something days consecutively, is going into the WWE Hall of Fame. Are you surprised they're putting him in?
No.
Really? Why not? I'll tell you why I am.
Why would I be?
Because of how much shit he's talked about the WWE since not being in it.
There's a lot of people that are in the Hall of Fame talk a lot of shit about the WWE.
But it's like the Honky Tonk Man has gone out of his way to disparage WWE.
If he has, how so? I haven't heard a lot of it, and I got my nose to the ground. You know, I mean, I'm reading the dirts a lot. I haven't heard a lot of the shit he said.
You haven't heard it, even though you've had your nose to the ground.
Ear to the ground, whatever. My nose to the coke straw. Wait,
What?
nothing.
What?
You know what I mean. I'm tuned in, man.
You're totally tuned in?
Not totally.
Not totally.
More than most people.
More than.
I mean, I do a podcast on wrestling. I should be somewhat tuned in, right?
No, I don't think I am. So okay, you're all right with it. What about you, Nick? Deservedly so?
Yeah, I think so. And I guess mostly because I'm not really familiar with a lot of the shit that he's talked. Doesn't surprise me. But, you know, on some level, he's iconic with the longest reigning IC title. And you know,
He is synonymous with it.
Yeah, so he's a very recognizable wrestler from that golden era. I mean, it's fitting.
Damn right it's fitting.
Mm-hmm.
So, we've always made our speculations after the announcements have started. Let's go with the first. Let's go. Who do you think is going to be the woman this year, Joe?
Besides China, obviously.
Well, China's in a group, so it doesn't count. There has to be a single woman announced. Actually, it doesn't have to be. They could not do it and not have a woman this year and go, well, because China's going in with the group.
No, they'll have a woman, especially with the emphasis being on the women and the women main eventing WrestleMania. In my opinion, no matter what happens, they still will main event WrestleMania. God, that's a great question. Oh, man. Let's see, they already put Jackie in. They already put Ivory in.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking, what about Molly Holly?
That's a good one.
You think now? Do you think Molly Holly's deserving of it?
As far as the women go,
Mm-hmm.
well, yeah, I do. Beth Phoenix is in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is Lita?
And
Lita's
Lita's
in,
in,
yes.
and Trish is in, and Jackie's in, and Ivory's in. Molly Holly did just as much as any one of them, if not more, back in that era of women's wrestling than any of them. She did just as much, if not more, than any of them back in that era. As a matter of fact,
champion,
without Molly Holly, there would be no Beth Phoenix. She helped Beth Phoenix pay for her training. She helped Beth Phoenix live, basically. I think she gave her a place to live. Beth Phoenix wouldn't have a career or be in the Hall of Fame without the help of Molly Holly. Molly Holly's a trainer. You know, she was one of the solid workers in the ring, working with all the other divas who didn't know how to work, basically pulling their weight for them, making sure they didn't look completely silly in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's other reasons why women like Jazz and Ivory and Jackie were there too. They needed some workers to work with all the bikini models, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Molly Holly was one of those. So maybe what she did on camera wasn't as prominent as what a Hall of Fame career might deem, but I know what she did off camera for sure was. So yeah, if you're putting me on the spot asking who, I'm going to go ahead and say her.
All right. Nick, anyone you can think of?
Sonny.
Already in there?
She's already in, and she already fucking pawned her Hall of Fame ring
Yeah.
like the crack whore she is.
She's with the
And
jail
she's
again.
back in jail
She's
again,
back
too.
in jail, yeah.
Fucking whore. Fuck her.
Um,
I mean, I would. Fuck her.
Ugh.
I mean, maybe not now. No,
back
who
in
am I
the,
kidding? I
back in
still
the
would.
day, I was like, Jesus Christ.
She was the most downloaded woman on the internet at one point ever, in all genres of any woman, not just
I
wrestling.
know you want me. Just to go with somebody different. Michelle McCool.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just naming somebody, you know. I mean, Hall of Fame worthy that's been around long enough to, I mean, Mickey James. I mean, Jesus Christ.
What about Sable?
I thought about Sable, but, you know, back to your, or Joe's point, or whichever one you guys talked about, Honky Tonk Man talking shit. Man, she can't stand fucking WWE. They shit in her bags, apparently.
Well, she's married to the current Universal Champion.
Yeah.
And she was just a sex symbol too. She represents everything that the WWE is trying to get away from.
And she didn't do a whole lot other than that.
She put handprints on her tits.
That is a lot, actually.
She powerbombed Mark Merrill,
Mark Merrill.
probably after 18 months of training, just to pull that one move off.
I would love to see. Look, it's fucking not going to happen, but it should. But because most of her shit wasn't in WWE, oh, you imagine Gail Kim?
I was just about to say, I was just about to say who deserves it. Damn you. Because I was like, you know, who really deserves it? And my boy Vince would never. I don't know what to do with an Asian woman. What do you do with that?
These Vince impressions, I swear to God.
They're spot.
All right.
I mean,
Let's
but
close this
dude,
the fuck up.
that's why he didn't know what to do with her.
Let's close this the fuck up. We're going a little bit over. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. We want to say, personally, I want to say that this week we made a real run. Like, we had 30 subscribers on our YouTube. And we made a real run, and we now have over 120 YouTube subscribers. That's our friends, our family, anyone who went all out for us. We really appreciate you guys and girls.
You guys are fucking awesome.
Yeah, anyone who is, if you're not subscribed to our YouTube though, and you're watching this video, you need to fucking subscribe, man. What the hell? Thumbs up, subscribe, all that fun stuff.
We've got viewers from all over the country. We've got viewers
All over
from
the world,
different
actually.
countries.
Yeah.
Australia.
We are international, bitch. So we want to say thank you to everyone. Also, remember, we have all that social media, facebook.com, BDRcast, twitter.com, BDRcast, Instagram, Snapchat, BDRcast. Follow all of us. Follow us on all of our social media. We really appreciate it. If you are listening live, watching live, make sure you subscribe to us. Apple Podcasts, all them fun podcasts, Overcast. You can do that. Rate us, subscribe, give us 5 fucking stars. 5 stars. Also, if you are listening on the podcast, you can watch live, listen live every Wednesday, 9:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Every Wednesday night. We promise you. Next week, we're going to have a big show. We're going to be making our picks for WWE Fastlane. See whatever else happens on Raw and SmackDown. Whole bunch of stuff to come to us. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Appreciate it, ladies and gentlemen. We are your ring crew.
Mr. Wednesday Night, your BDR champ, the whole fucking Joe.
Half pint.
Full pint.
Full pint.
Pint.
Nick, the dick.
Knuckleless. And me, the almighty one, Mikey himself. We are out.